So in our last lesson, we built an awesome command line tool that could fetch live weather data. But what if maybe your friends wants to use it? Alright, so you can't ask them to open a terminal and run node app.js Bloemfontein or something like that. So the solution is just to make our application accessible through a web browser. So today we're going to build a web server. It will build a server that doesn't just send back a pre-written static file. So we're going to build a server that shows the user a form to enter a city, takes the city name as an input, calls the weather API on the back end, and then generates a dynamic HTML page with a live weather report, and then sends the custom page back to the user's browser. So this is the foundation of almost every modern web application. Alright, so for a project setup, we just need so we're still going to work on the same folder. We need two files. We need server.js, so that's our main Node.js server logic, index.html, a simple front end page with a form for the user. So here I'm going to change directory to lesson 2 npm. Alright, so I'm gonna make a new file which is server.js, and then I'm gonna make another file called index.html. The first thing that we're going to do, we're going to build the index. We put the structure there, HTML structure, so exclamation and tab. So this is weather app. And we can have a style here. Alright, so on the body we're gonna come back and do the style now. We need the container, and then in the container we have heading 1, what's the weather like, and then we can just say enter a city name to get the live weather report, and then maybe somewhere here we're gonna have a form with, okay, we don't need the class, action is gonna be weather, and then the method is get, and then in the form we just need an input, the type of text, input with the type of text, the name will be city, and then perhaps we can have we don't need ID, but we can have a placeholder, so we can just say EG Bloemfontein, right, and then we're gonna have a button that is a type of submit, and we can just say get weather. I'm not gonna put an outside style, so we're just gonna do internal style. So first we're gonna take the body, and we'll add a font family. Let's use April system. All right, so if you select Apple systems, all of that is gonna appear there. All right, so if you select, you just do like hyphen Apple system, like if you do the first one, then your editor should actually pre-fill the rest. All right, and then we can go to heading 1. We can just change maybe the color. The color we can make it we're gonna take the container, we do the text align. Let's make it center, and then we're gonna do the background color. Let's make it white, and then we can do, I think, padding. Let me just do this so that we can actually have more space. So we can do padding. So padding, we can make it, and then we can do border radius. Let's make it 12 pixels. And then box shadow. So box shadow, we can make it, let's say, box shadow, let's make it 0. No man, what am I doing? RGBA, right? Yeah, it's fine. We can make it 0, and then 5 pixels, and then 15 pixels, and then we can make it RGBA, and then red is going to be 0, and then green is 0, and then blue 0, and then alpha 0.08. So alpha is 0.08. All right, and then we do, I think, the form. So the form, we're just gonna do the margin top. On the form margin top, let's make it 20 pixels. And then the input, that is type of text. Heading, let's make it 12 pixels. And then the font size. The font size, we can make it 16 pixels. And then the border, we can make it, let's make it 1 pixel solid, and then we're gonna make it like light gray, and then the border radius, let's make it 16 pixels, or rather let's make it 6, and then the width, let's make it 250. All right, and then we're gonna take the button and let's do the padding of 12 pixels and 20 pixels, and then the font size like 16 pixels, and then the color, we can make it white, and then the background, since the color is white, we need to change the background color. the background color, let's make it I don't know, maybe light blue, and then border none, and then what else? Maybe border radius, let's make it 6 pixels as well. And then we can change the cursor to a pointer. Then we can do a transition. We can make it in a background color. Let's say 0.30 seconds. Alright, so we need to, the last thing that we're gonna do is the button hover. Okay, so let's put a button hover. So background color, alright, so it's just cycle from that one. So you see, with the hover you must just always be a little bit cycle. So now looking at our HTML, you see a form has the action weather. So this tells the browser that when the form is submitted, it should send a request to the /weather path on our server, and then the method is get. This means that the form data will be encoded directly into the URL. All right. Name on the input is crucial. Name equals city. This is crucial. It means that the value of the input field will be assigned to the query parameter named city, and then the final URL will be like it's gonna say weather, and then city is whatever city that we do there. All right, so now let's go to the server JS. All right, so the first thing we will just import HTTP, and then we import the fs from fs, and then we import URL from URL from URL from URL. So the URL module helps us to parse URLs. All right, and then we're gonna import Axios from Axios, and then let's import Chalk from Chalk. Import Chalk from Chalk. Right. Now, first we will create a port. Let's say we're gonna use port 3000 for this request. Now we need a helper function to generate the HTML for the weather report. Okay, so we'll need a helper function to actually generate the HTML. So we'll have a function generate weather HTML, make sure you've got the correct spelling. And then we're gonna return this in HTML. So here we're gonna have a doc type HTML, and then HTML. So we have to hard code the HTML now. I know they normally the editor does that for us, but unfortunately here we have to hard code it. Meta weather for, and then location dot area name dot value. Okay. Okay, so we can have the style. So we can do something like this. So we copy the style as the body, and then we need the weather card, weather card.
So it's like
about 30 pixels, and then maybe the border radius, let's make it 12 pixels, and then we can add a box shadow. Shadow 0.5 pixels, and then 15 pixels, and then RGBA 0, 0, 0, and then 0.1, and then the text align is gonna be yeah, let's do center, and then maybe the width we can just make it about 350 pixels. Alright, and then we'll take H1, and then we'll just add a color there, the color of, let's say, 7F8C8D. If I remember well, it was this color here. Don't forget the pound. Alright, and then the margin, we can just make it 15 pixels, 0, top and bottom. Alright, so then we need another class called details. So we can just do the margin of say 10 pixels right and left, and then 0 pixels top and bottom. And then the anchor, you can just do a margin top of 20 pixels, and then the color, you can just use the same color as this one, and then we can just remove the text decoration. And then we can just remove the text decoration. Sorry, it would be none. Decoration. Alright, just make sure the spelling is good, because otherwise simply it's not gonna work, because now we are within a JavaScript. Alright, I think this is good, and then we just need to close style. And then we need to close head. And then we need a body now. So on the body we're gonna have a division with a class of weather card, the one that we've already styled. And then we're gonna have h1 dot value, and then we close h1. And then we're gonna have a paragraph, and then in the paragraph we're gonna have the region. So this location dot region dot value, and then I think we can also print the country somewhere here. So we're gonna have location dot country the value, and then we must just close temperature or temp. I think we use temp there, so we don't have to write a full word because we use temp. And then here we will just print out there's an HTML code for that, to actually put that, but for now I'm just gonna say let's say I'm gonna do like this. Okay, so there is actually a source code for that. There's HTML code. Yeah, it's not on the keyboard, so but anyway. And then let's have a paragraph with a class of details, and then let you know, like the wind and whatnot. And then we need to see this div. Oh, we need to close the card. So this card we need to actually close it. So we're gonna close the div. Oh no, you see now this thing is actually, let me just make sure that everything is inside. So we will need to close this div somewhere here, and then maybe below it we're gonna have another anchor. So we're gonna have another anchor href close the body, and then we need to close the HTML. And then we need to close our script. Alright, now let's go ahead and create a constant server He's got HTTP http dot create server, and then we pass two parameters, which is request and results. So we need to post the URL first, post URL. So we're gonna say URL dot post dot URL and then true. So the true post is the query string basically, and then we need to provide. So we're gonna have another constant of a path is post URL dot path name. Root number one, we're gonna say the home page. So root number one is the home page. So if path, what am I doing? If path is home, like that, then we're gonna load the file, read file, which is index.html. So that's the file that we created called index.html. And then if maybe there's an error, then we're gonna do a 500 error. And then the content type but it's like internal server error, or else if there is no error, then we're gonna get a 200, meaning 200 means everything is okay. And then the content type is gonna be text/HTML. So error number 2 is the report page. So we're gonna say else if path is weather, then const city is a post URL dot query. So here we get the city from the URL dot city, and then if not city 400, and then the content type is text/plain. then this is a bad request. Please provide a CD. All right, so now we need to, all right, so we're gonna have that URL. Remember that URL, we could actually copy, we could just copy it from Zit app. Yes, so we can just copy this. So we can copy it as is, this line here, and we can just go back and just paste it there. And then axios dot get API URL, then the response const whether HTML is that helper function. Remember that function that we created called generate what did you call it now? This helper function. Let me just copy the name. All right, and then we just pass the response dot all right, this response, I want it like that. Response dot data. So then we can just say city not found, please try again. Listen and then console dot log server is running, and it's currently green, and all right. So now make sure that both the server.js and the index.html are saved in your Node class. Okay, so I'm gonna on my terminal, and I'm gonna go ahead and run node server.js, and then I need, okay, my firewall is actually, it doesn't want, so I must allow the firewall. So allow access, and then I'm gonna just follow this to go to the URL. So now here's my page on the URL. Then I'm gonna type there Bloemfontein and then get weather. Okay, there is clearly something something wrong that we've done, so we must just check what's going on. Oh, that's not an error. I thought maybe it was an error. Let's try it again. Bloemfontein, get weather. Okay, so it's a bug somewhere. The city that you're looking for, the server means that the browser asks the server for the weather page, but the server responded with, you know, it cannot find that city. Now looking at our code, on the catch we have this one, city not found. All right, so this tells us that the request to the weather API wttr.in is failing. But why? I think the likely reason maybe it's a small typo somewhere here. Generate weather HTML. I think not plural, it's supposed to be condition. All right, so it's a tricky bug, but it was just a small typo, so it should work now. So let's go back to a URL, and we'll just go back to home and then type Bloemfontein again, Bloemfontein, and then get weather HTML. Let's just make sure if when we call it, is it the same thing? So I think here the function name as well we must update it. What did I do now? Okay, so let's fix the name here, and then also when we call it, let's fix it, and then let's check this one. I don't think that's actually okay. Let's stop this. Control C to stop it, and then we can run it again, and then we can just visit. All right, I think that looks much better, and then we can just type Bloemfontein and then get the weather. Please work. Yeah.
So what was the problem?
We need to find that Celsius thing. Okay, let me just Google it. HTML code for degree symbol. We need to get that Unicode. Oh, it's very simple. So we can just say and DEG. So let's go somewhere. Let's go to our HTML, and here we can just say and DEG like that. Okay, where else did we use it? I think here it's missing like that. So let's reload to get the symbol. I think maybe we must just stop the server from running and then run it again, and so let's put Bloemfontein and get weather. Now this is working perfectly. There we go. So that's it. That's how we can create. So we've built a full stack application with front end HTML form and a back end Node.js. So we use HTTP and then URL modules to create a server that can handle different routes, like the home route and the weather. So we've also learned how to get the user input from the form's query parameters. So we dynamically generated HTML on the server using the live data, from an external API. We saw how much work it is to manually create routes and build HTML strings. So this is a problem. So the last point is crucial. While we've built something amazing, the code is getting complicated. You said that we had so many errors, like small errors. So what if we had 50 routes? Manually writing all of these if-else statements and HTML strings would be a nightmare. So this perfectly sets the stage for our next lesson, where we'll learn about Express.js. So there's a framework that just makes all of these dramatically simpler and more powerful.